ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors. Let us give you the report. This is First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back. It's been a while. Kind of been on hiatus. Honestly, I've been on the road, then got back and was sick, so couldn't really cover much. But before we get started, I just want to send my condolences out to a friend, real good friend of my cousin. I'm sure if y'all follow the pod or you follow us on Twitter and TikTok, Chance, also known as Chauncey, his best friend passed away yesterday. Sad news. Fletch Sanders, hell of a guy. Dude was an athlete. I remember going to their high school state championships when they played for Acadiana, and they won the state championships, and him jumping up into Monta Chance's arms at the end of the game. Great guy. Horrible loss. He was a member of the politics family as well, so shout out to everybody from politics. We appreciate the support that y'all give us whenever I do give us y'all shout outs, and all condolences go to the Sanders family. Sad start. But hey, let's get into it. Let's recap the seasons, and then get into this college football playoff that we're looking ahead to. Should be a good one. Hey, Texas finishes 9-3 on the year. Big win to end the year over Texas A&M. I was fortunate enough to be with family, and my niece and nephew, who are Aggies, got to watch them just hate every second of it. I did predict it and said Texas would win by 10. I said it on Twitter. I said it at our Turkey Bowl that day. I was talking all my trash like I always do when it comes to this rivalry. And guess what? Texas stepped up and did it yet again. They made Marcel Reed look average. I think his Heisman hopes pretty much got ended on that game. But we'll see. They are a playoff team now, so we'll see what they do. But hey, Texas finishes 9-3. Lack of a running game, I think, stood out more than anything this year because it wasn't there throughout. Which, I mean, in the news today, Texas is also getting rid of their running backs coach and looking for a new one after that as well. So that's a big moving point for Texas. They got to fix that running game to see what happens there. Like I said, Texas finishes 9-3. Also, big news that happened before I turn it over to Buddha. Star running back, who's a 5-star kid for Texas, CJ Baxter, has entered the portal, and it came out today. He actually found a home, and he's going to arch enemy of Cole in Alabama, and he's committed to Auburn. CJ Baxter is going to be the running back for Auburn.
How's that possible? Does that not should we not shut the Auburn program down? Does that not break like every rule in the book? The portal's not even open.
Yeah, he already committed to him. So he came out committed. He committed today that it came out that he's committed to Auburn. So which is crazy because that was a quick turnaround. He entered the portal yesterday and committed today.
Yeah, I know Auburn has all the moral high ground in the world. They do everything by the book. They break no ever. They're perfectly clean. There's definitely no tampering here at all. So, but don't guys, no tampering by the great Auburn anyway.
Yeah, and Sark did say that as soon as there was rumors about him going to the NFL, that tampering and contact started coming in out of nowhere to all of his players, and he was just kind of like, "What is going on here?" But that's it. That's all I got for Texas. I mean, hey, 9-3. Arch kind of turned his season around, turned into a quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be. Heading to the good old Cheez-It Bowl versus Michigan, but we'll touch on that when we get into the college football playoff and bowl games. Let's hear about LSU, Buddha.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately LSU. I mean, everybody knows the big stories with the coaching fire and change. Ultimately, a weird year, a not fun year. LSU starts the year off with what appears to be a huge win, and it's like LSU's ranked top 5. I mean, they're ranked top 3 for a big chunk of the first quarter of the year. But you never felt good. It never felt like a good football team. Even like the Florida wins. I think I've heard some people in local media refer to it as like a root canal of a season. Like the offense was just putrid. Brian Kelly ends up losing his job. I think he had won 70% of his games, but I don't think that tells the full story. Basically lost every big game that he coached in outside of an Alabama game in his first season, and then he beat Ole Miss in a game that he had no business winning. That Garrett Nussmeier played the best game of his career in. But outside of that, Brian Kelly just never really got it done at LSU. It kind of all came to a head LSU made a splash higher in Kiffin. So it went from being a really fun, really not fun season to a really fun start to an off season. They finished 7-5, so you're playing in a bowl game. They get to go play Houston in Houston for the Texas Bowl. So we'll see what that looks like, how many guys actually play. I don't have a lot of expectations for it, considering the circumstances. But now we look forward to transfer portal. We're able to hold on to a top 10, 11 class in recruiting and see what the future looks like, because the Brian Kelly era is over and it's now the Lane Kiffin era.
Before we turn it over to Cole, did y'all have any big names enter the portal, or do y'all gotten
No,
any names out
no.
of the
So
portal yet?
LSU's had 4 guys enter. Pretty much all guys that were they didn't play a lot, or they were reserve players. So the biggest name would be Ashton Stamps, but he stepped away from the program prior to Brian Kelly even getting fired. So that was expected. Then we lost a defensive lineman and a wide receiver that played sparingly. But I'm assuming there will be more to come, right? I mean, the portal, it doesn't open until January 2nd, so we'll see what that looks like throughout the month and after bowl games start to get wrapped up.
Cole, what's going on in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, well, before I get to that, fun fact: the Texas Bowl is sponsored by Kinder's barbecue sauce, which, if you grill a lot, Kinder's barbecue sauce really
Fire.
good. Just
It's
go
fire.
put the record now. Feel free to sponsor us, Kinder's. We love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dudes who probably grill a lot, we love that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no, look, year 2 under DeBoer. Obviously, season didn't start how we wanted, getting blown out by Florida State. That wasn't anything I think any of us saw coming. But look, then you rattle off 8 wins, 4 of those being ranked wins, 2 of them on the road. You go to Georgia and win. So it puts you 2-0 against Kirby and Georgia for DeBoer. And then, you slip up against Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa, a game that you really dominated every aspect. You just lost. You dominated everything except for points, period. Didn't play good. And then obviously fortunate to win the Iron Bowl. We beat both of our rivals this year, Tennessee and Auburn, which we love doing that. Win the Iron Bowl, steal the SEC championship game, get in that game and just get blasted. So then you're kind of left in this limbo world of what will the committee do, right? Do conference championship losses count or do they not count? Luckily, the committee stayed with what they did last year with SMU, and they left Bama right where they were. I'm not sure if they left SMU right where they were or not, but nonetheless, Bama gets in the playoff at the 9 spot, and I know we're about to get in the playoff, but rematch against Oklahoma. So overall, I mean, 10-2 in the regular season. I mean, I can't be mad about it. I think I projected us going 10-2, but I did not have us losing the ones we lost. At least not the Florida State one. Overall, happy with what I've seen most of the time, but definitely some stuff I want to see differently moving forward. But with that, I mean, Pete, I guess we'll go ahead and get into the playoffs, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it. What we'll do is we'll go down the top 4 that all have buys. If you have any comments on them, y'all can give them, and then we'll look at these matchups that we got coming. Number 1, the Indiana Hoosiers. How about that? Like, basketball school comes in and I mean, what can you say about this team? They look like they play together. When they have to win, they step up and they win these games. And they played a remarkable Big Ten championship game to come back and win that. I mean, they were helped by the shank kick by Ohio State's kicker, but hey, you got to take a win when you can get it. What are y'all's thoughts on Indiana? Indiana won.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's deserving. I mean, you go undefeated, you win the Big Ten championship. They're the only undefeated team in the CFP rankings, so I see no reason why they wouldn't be one. Mendoza, I still am just not fully sold on him, but obviously he's good enough to go 12-0 and win the Big Ten championship. So I guess I should just stop talking about football at this point. But I mean, overall, yeah, they're the unanimous number 1 overall.
I thought they looked really good against Ohio State. I mean, I get that they shanked the field goal, but like they were probably going to win that game regardless, in my opinion. Like, I mean, that was they're super impressive. I didn't think they'd be that good on defense. I really thought they were going to get exposed against Ohio State, and I thought they were just a better football team. Like, I thought they looked better coached. They looked more physical. Mendoza made a ton of big throws. Like, he's done it all year. Like, he's just kind of gotten it done. I was thoroughly impressed with Indiana, and I mean, I think they can make a run. I mean, I really do. I don't think this is a fluky. I don't think they're fluky.
Got you. Number two, I don't think this number two should have been the number two. I think the number two should have been who number three is, but number two is Ohio State. I thought it would be Georgia at number two, but it's not. The committee said, "Hey, you know what? Ohio State only lost one game. They only deserve to drop one spot, so that's where they put them." I don't know. I'm still kind of iffy about this Ohio State team. I mean, they played a hell of a game against Indiana, but we'll see how it plays out in the playoff. How y'all feel about Ohio State at two?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and I'm sure I'm assuming we'll all be on the same page with this one. I mean, I think it should have been Georgia at two. Again, you're talking 2 versus 3. I mean, I don't know that it necessarily matters all that much moving forward, but I see no reason why Ohio State should be ahead of Georgia, especially when you look at what Georgia's done late in the year. The Georgia Tech game, it was a close game score wise, but if you watch that game, I mean, Georgia was really in control the entire time. And then obviously Georgia, I mean, they blew us out. They blew Bama out in the SEC championship, and again, a game that was never in doubt. They were up 14-0, I think, with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Like before, you blink once, you're down 14. You blink twice, you're down 21. So I see no reason why it shouldn't have been Georgia. But again, I think we're splitting hairs here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I thought it was going to be Georgia. I don't care that it is Ohio State. I also can see, when you lay the resumes out, Ohio State has one loss to the number one team in the country in a close game. So, I have an issue with it. I thought it was going to be Georgia, but again, I agree with Cole. You're splitting hairs with them in Georgia. It didn't upset me.
Got it. And like we said, we pretty much covered Georgia. You got anything else you want to touch on Georgia on? Or all right, so we'll go to the number 4, which is Texas Tech, Big Bank Tech. I mean, they're coming from the Big 12. There's no competition in the Big 12. When you can afford to buy rosters like Texas Tech's roster, you're gonna win the Big 12. Now we'll see if they can compete with the big dogs once they come to knocking. How y'all feel about Tech at 4?
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't watch a ton of Texas Tech this year. I mean, I know that they're in a very weak conference. I know that they beat BYU twice. I don't know what the score was the first time. I know the second, the conference championship game was, if I remember correctly, it wasn't very close at the end. I know it was close for a while, but it wasn't very close at the end. So weak conference, weak team, in my opinion. But they're going to be at 4 if they go undefeated and win their conference. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, my thing with Texas Tech is, do I think they're a legitimate threat to win a title? Probably not. I think they're deserving of where they got ranked. I will say, they do play a weak conference, but they played a lot of the year with a backup quarterback. They had some injury stuff right there. I do think they're talented enough to really upset somebody. I think they're talented enough to where they can make a little run, depending on how games fall in front of them and around, who they end up playing. Because they are talented. They do spend a ton of money, and they don't play a tough schedule, but there are very expensive players on that roster.
Well, and if you really look at it, they have a very favorable draw.
Yeah.
In the, I mean, they play the winner of Oregon and JMU, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, is Oregon good? We'll find out, I guess. But obviously, I think we all agree they could beat JMU. But nonetheless.
Yeah, getting into that, we'll go ahead and look at that lineup since Oregon's number 5. Number 5, Oregon. I guess that their seeding is fine. They really haven't played anybody as of yet that I could think of. I mean, their biggest threat all year was Penn State.
Yeah,
and then they lost to Indiana.
That's my thing too, and we go back to when we did this preseason, right? We picked through the games, and I know I said it. I'm sure y'all said it as well. Some of these teams you look at, okay, where will they finish in the CFP rankings? You have to look at schedules. And Oregon was one of those teams I distinctly remember saying, you look at this schedule, they have 1, maybe 2 tough games on it. And Indiana and Penn State. Penn State finished 6-6, so we obviously all agree that didn't matter as a game on the schedule that was tough. So it's should Oregon be ranked where they are? Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I look at teams like Texas A&M, right? They played in SEC. They went 11-1. Yeah, they got blasted by Texas to finish the year, but I guess in my opinion, what separates Oregon from them? Same thing with Ole Miss. In the SEC, you go 11-1. What separates them? I don't know all their schedules top of my hand or top of my head or whatever. But and I can guarantee you this: I'd be very confident in saying that A&M and Ole Miss both have better resumes than Oregon. But again, I don't have it in front of me. I'm just pretty confident in that one.
Oregon's a weird team to me because they get so much credit for nothing, and this has been happening kind of since after right after. I mean, it's been happening for 15, 20 years, but really since Lanning's been there, they get a lot of credit for almost winning games. They get a lot of credit for this record that they have, but like even dating back to when they played those Washington teams, that they were favored in both of those games and lost them, and they still the next year they followed up getting credit for wins again that they just don't have. This year, when I look at them, I go, I don't know what you've done because you played the number one team in the country and you got dog walked. Like Indiana didn't just beat them; Indiana controlled that game when they played, and Penn State should have beat them. Penn State had a lead in overtime. Like Penn State should have beat them, and then obviously Penn State fired the coach because they were so poorly coached. Like I don't know why Oregon got the benefit of the doubt to be the 5 seed. I thought it should have been A&M personally, but they were going to be in regardless, so it's not like it matters. And they kind of it sucks that they get a de facto bye by playing JMU.
Yeah, and so this is where it does kind of matter, in my opinion, Buddha, because you get the 5 seed, which means you in turn will play the 4 seed after your first round game, right? Whereas if you're any of the other seeds between 6, 7, 8, you're playing what I think is significantly better competition in that second round and the first round, to be clear. But I think the second round is what you're looking at if you're a 5 playing the Make-A-Wish spot. So that's why it's like this is the problem. Is like now we could have Oregon beat JMU by 50, right? Like we all agree they're probably gonna beat JMU, and then they go play Texas Tech. And if they beat Texas Tech, now they're walking into the semifinals with what I think isn't a whole lot to show for their season.
Look what Penn State did.
And
They can be
I mean,
very similar to what Penn State did last year. They can be very similar to how Penn State kind of walked their way to a semis, where it was like, hold up, you haven't done anything here. Like you haven't accomplished anything.
And Dan Lanning gets so much credit, and I remember when Saban retired, Bama boards, including myself, was like, man, we need to go after Dan Lanning. And then I'm sitting there for a second, I'm like, well, like besides the fact that I think he's an electric coach, and I think he's a player's coach, I think he's a ball dude. Like, what has he done to earn all this hype? I guess. I mean, look, Oregon obviously has a ton of money. They have dope uniforms, right? You're Nike. You're literally Nike. But like, why are we riding him so hard? And until he makes a run in the playoffs, I'm officially just kind of like, all right,
That's
Dan
where I'm at
Lanning's
too.
whatever.
Couldn't agree more.
That's just my opinion.
I mean, let's not forget they went undefeated let's not forget they went undefeated last year and they got mollywopped in the playoffs.
Like last year, they went undefeated, which is great. That's hard to do. Okay, but then you get
Yeah,
dog
they
walked in
went
the playoffs.
undefeated last year, but like let's not forget. And look,
Yeah,
sometimes undefeated
yeah.
seasons have to have some luck on your side. Will Howard literally turned his brain off for a second. Is the only reason they went undefeated last year. Like he literally forgot how to play football for like 25 seconds, and like just basically said, "I'm gonna allow y'all to win today. Sorry, I forgot what I'm doing."
While we're talking about them, let's go ahead and touch on who they're playing. They're playing one of the gifted spots, the Make a Wish play-ins, and that's JMU. Shouldn't be there, but hey, they're playing JMU. I think JMU gets embarrassed, and everyone thinks at the end of the year that they didn't belong.
So I'll tell you this: JMU's God, there's this page on Twitter. It's JMU Sports News. It's a verified account, and it's a legitimate James Madison sports account, and they are just going unhinged on Twitter right now. They're like posting like screenshots of TCU Georgia, and the caption says, "Honestly, I don't think we'll beat them this bad, but it might look similar to this once we're done." They're posting stuff and they're being like, "Oh, like whatever favorite Oregon is." They're like 20-something point favorite. Yeah, no, I think we probably win by 10 instead of 20. It's honestly hilarious. I love it, man. Yeah, no, I think Oregon obviously dog walks them though.
How do you feel about it, Buddha?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody's going to look at JMU as they don't deserve to be there. I'm gonna instead of doing that, congratulate JMU on a great year, winning their conference. And the blame really should not be on JMU, and they're going to catch all the flack if you don't deserve to be here. The blame should be on the pathetic Atlantic Coast Conference. The ACC is so bad. The fact that your conference champion was 7-5, and you had Miami get in, but the fact that nobody else in your conference could figure it out, and Virginia couldn't beat a 7-5 Duke team to get in. This is the ACC problem. The ACC, they continuously get credit for being a Power Four conference, and they're just simply not. Like, we can sit here and act like they are because they have Clemson. Clemson sucks because they have Miami. What's Miami really done since the early 2000s, late 90s? Like, they're not a power conference, and they shouldn't be looked at as one. When your conference champ is Duke and you got NC State and all this nonsense in your conference, that's the problem. Is that it's not James Madison's fault that the rules were written where they allowed them in, because the ACC sucks so bad. So, like, that's my thing. Like, now, is James Madison one of the best 12 teams in America? No, but that's how the rules are written, and it's not their fault. So I won't sit here and bash on them, because they're going to get a lot of that, especially when they lose, and they're going to get probably pummeled. Everybody's just going to point the finger at them and go, "Fuck you for being in. Why would you be here?" And in reality, they're just going like, "All we did was win games, and somebody else told us we were playing in this thing. That's it.
Yeah,
We didn't do it.
absolutely.
We didn't do this on purpose. We didn't try to hurt your feelings. We earned our right."
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the number 6 team, who will be facing the number 11 team. Number 6 is Ole Miss, and they're gonna have a rematch with the team that they pummeled earlier in the year with Tulane. But we got this is a different Ole Miss. This is a Pete Golden's Ole Miss. Um, and Lane was nice enough to lend him his entire offensive staff, minus himself.
A certified nice guy.
We'll see how this one plays out. I completely think it's going to be kind of the same thing as it was last time they met up. That Ole Miss wins by 20 something, but we'll see how it plays out. How do y'all feel about Ole Miss at 6? And
Uh,
also, do y'all think Ole Miss should have dropped because they lost their coach?
yeah, I don't know how much I really look into losing their coach. I mean, like, obviously, when Jordan Travis got hurt at Florida State 2 years ago, I was screaming that there's no chance they should be in the playoff. But I think losing a coach is a little different. Um, you know, should Ole Miss have been ahead of A&M? I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards no, but that's kind of more of just a gut feeling from what I've seen on tape, to be quite honest with you. No, look, I think Tulane is a 17.5-point dog, and I'm telling you right now, I'm putting my next 3 mortgages on that. I think this is going to be a close game for most of it. I really do. I think Tulane's got some swag. I think Tulane's got a lot of fight in them. John Summerall, while he's taking that Florida job, this dude has been back and forth from Gainesville to New Orleans. Um, you know, pretty much every day. It's my understanding. These players love him. He loves that school. He loves those kids. I think they're going to play really hard. I don't know if they have enough to pull it off. I'd love to see it, though. Why not? As someone who suffered with Pete Golding as our defensive coordinator at Bama for a couple years, who put Will Anderson, probably one of the greatest pass rushers in college football history, in coverage, if they lose this game, I won't be shocked, because that dude's a scumbag, and he's not going to be a good head coach. There's just no way around it. So yeah, I'm taking Tulane with the points here. And look, how about a roll motherfucking wave, right? Why not?
Yeah, RMFW. Fuck it. Look, I think my take on this, I'm going to address Ole Miss first. I mean, we haven't had time to get into all this with the Ole Miss people. Obviously, they've been in my mentions and on my Twitter feed nonstop. They need to realize one thing. Pete Golding wasn't their first option. He wasn't their second option. He was like their 13th option. They got left at the altar by their head coach, and then they swung and missed on Alex Golish and John Sumrall. Joe Judge did not want to be the interim head coach, so they just made a panic decision and hired Pete Golding because they knew they weren't competing with anyone else to hire him. They didn't have to get left at the altar again. Nobody wanted Pete Golding's services as a head coach. Pete Golding obviously is going to jump on the head coach of that, where his first game's in the playoff. where it's a win-win for him. If they do end up losing the game, he can go, our whole offense is gone. With that said, I think Ole Miss probably wins the game just because they're more talented. I kind of agree with Cole, though. I think this thing might be a close game. I think there's a couple factors in it. One, Tulane's quarterback, Retzloff, is healthy. So he's not wearing his knee brace anymore. And, I watched multiple Tulane games this year. He looked significantly faster in their conference title game than he did when he had the brace on. I think that's a difference. I think he's an electric player. I think the thing Lane Kiffin brings to the table that, they're not going to have is the in-game adjustments and play calls, the ability to see it in the fly and make immediate changes on how you're going to attack. So you're going to have, Charlie Weiss Jr. and this whole crew back with him. Which, shout out Lane Kiffin, certified terrific guy. Good luck, Rebels. But I'm
You don't
interested
mean
to see,
that. You don't mean that. You don't mean that. You don't mean that.
no, I don't mean good luck, Rebels. Do I mean Lane Kiffin, certified good guy? Super, absolutely mean that. But is this one of those weird scenarios where, Charlie Weiss is not the offensive genius that was at Ole Miss. He knows the playbook, but he's not the one that drew up all the. This is a Lane Kiffin offense that they're working with. So I don't know. I think a healthy Tulane quarterback, and then also, how many of these Ole Miss players are going to look at it and have the belief of, maybe we can't win this thing. Maybe that is why Lane left. Maybe how many guys are also looking ahead too? I'm not saying to go to LSU, maybe Texas, LSU, Alabama. How many guys on the roster are going to be sitting there going, maybe coach was right. Maybe we can't win this thing. I think this thing's got a chance to be a really good game, and Tulane could really shut up a lot of people. Because if Tulane beats them, then they're going to be like, okay, who didn't fucking deserve to be here?
Yeah, you're right. I think my only clap back on that is the reaction to the players to Pete Golden, and then the reaction to the players on Twitter, kind of going after Kiffin for leaving and saying that he left us this and that. Da, da, da. I do think we see some of those big names go to LSU and to other programs at the end of the year, but I think they're all going to step up and they're going to try to use Lane leaving as a reason to win. Whether they can or not, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, you're a player. If your coach leaves you, whether you want to go with him or not, if your coach leaves you, you're going to take that as a slight. Even as much as he wanted to stay and coach throughout the playoffs, he still left. So you playing with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, just to kind of be like,
Yeah,
hey, look, either say, hey, look, coach, we did it for you, or hey, coach, we did it in spite of you.
I agree. I agree with you. I will say this. They had a couple of good players that tweeted some stuff that had Centarian Perkins did something. But the stuff that got the most traction, that was the videos on TikTok, were Keon Young and John Seaton. And I would just like to let every listener of this pod know this. Those two guys played a combined 0 snaps this year.
Yeah.
So, quite frankly, I don't think it's a bad look. It's yeah, brother, Lane Kiffin probably didn't even know you were on the team, dog. He probably was like, get that big guy with the pad over there. You didn't play. It doesn't matter that you're angry. It didn't mean anything.
All right, let's get to the number 7 spot. And I think the reason that they fell to 7 is probably more recency bias because of their last game, which is why they fell below the other ones. That y'all both believe they should have been ahead of, and that's the A&M Aggies. And Texas just kind of beat the shit out of them and left a bad taste in their mouth. Kind of show people how you disrupt Marcel Reed. You put somebody in his face, you continue to pressure him because their running game wasn't there. Their running back was hurt. Now he'll be healthy for this game, but they're going to be facing the second toughest defense they faced all year in Miami. And for their offensive lineman to come out and make comments, I know y'all saw the clips about how, he's not an impactful guy. We're not really worried about him. He's probably going to be one of the number 1 picks in the draft, brother. What are you talking about?
Whoa.
What are you talking about? How do you come out and make a comment like that? But
Dude,
we'll see how it plays out.
I'll tell you, I think Ruben Bain is the best player in this draft. I think he's an absolute monster. And I'm going to tell you one thing. That is not a fella I think you want to give any extra fuel to. Look, I think this game is going to be great. I think this will probably be one of the better games in the first round. If Carson Beck is on, watch out. Because Miami's got some playmakers. They got some dudes that can make some pretty good catches. A&M's defense, I think, is very pressure dependent, which sounds silly because, obviously any defense that gets good pressure is automatically going to be better than they normally are. I think if Miami can get the ball out quick and can establish a decent run game, I think they have a good shot. I think A&M's decent. I think Marcel Reed, if you make him throw, we've all seen what happens. He struggles, kind of Jalen Milroe like from last year. So look, I think it'd be a great game. I'm probably gonna have Miami winning that one, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I think we need to remember that, like, when Miami was humming, people thought they were the best team in the country. They were like, I mean, like, it was like, that's not very close. Now, Carson Beck turned into a pumpkin again at times, but they're very talented, and their defensive line is legit. A&M definitely, in my opinion, should have been ranked higher. The committee did some weird shit where, like, the recency bias affected A&M, but it didn't affect Ohio State where they got ranked. I don't know. A lot of that shit doesn't make sense. I agree with Cole. I think this is the best game of the first round, or on paper it should be, right? I mean, obviously, who knows what happens, but A&M is talented. Like, I know they lost to Texas, but, like, I'll still say on that, they are a very talented group. Cassius Howell's a very good defensive end. If they could force Beck into some pressure and make some bad decisions, I could very easily see A&M advancing here. I don't know. I think it's going to be a really good game. I can see it from both angles.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar on Miami's offensive line if they're that good or they're good enough.
It's supposed to be very
Because
good.
yeah, okay, then I mean because Howell was a big worry for Texas and he did nothing absolutely the entire game. He didn't get near Arch, and Weisner stepped up and had an incredible game running yet again for the second year in a row. Just kind of gashed that A&M defense, which I thought was the strongest part of the A&M team was their defense, and Texas kind of looked like he handled it in the second half pretty easily. So we'll see what Carson Beck can do if he's good. Their run game, I'm not sure. It's kind of been iffy all year. We haven't really seen much of it, but like y'all both said, when Beck gets on and he's hot, he can sling that
They're a
thing, and
problem.
it's a problem. While Cole's out, let's go ahead and touch on Miami being at 10 and Notre Dame losing their spot.
Should have.
Like everyone's pretty much said in sports media, it was like the committee righted their wrong that they did earlier in the year by having Notre Dame ahead of them, even though Miami won the head-to-head and looks like they kind of fixed it. But then again, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see if Beck can step up and deliver it like he's supposed to, and we'll see if A&M wakes up after that ass kicking they took. But that's, I
Well,
mean, go ahead.
well, I think we talk about, like, you brought up the Notre Dame thing. Like, can anybody give me a legitimate reason why Notre Dame should have been in over Miami? Like, I haven't heard one reason yet that makes me go like, oh yeah, because, like, the only reasons people give are, well, I think if they played at a neutral site, I would pick Notre Dame to beat them today. Well, that's not a reason. That's like, you don't have any logic. They played two teams with a pulse and lost both of them, and I
Yep.
guess they beat USC, but, like, it ain't like USC's in this mix right now. Like, USC's doing what
Whatsoever.
LSU's doing. Like, you're playing a bowl game that nobody's gonna watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, the thing with the whole Miami Notre Dame saga too is, like, when you got two teams that are 10-2, okay, both finished season 10-2, both have extremely comparable resumes, right? You know, it'd be great is if they played head to head. Oh wait, they did, and Miami won. Like, to me, it's that simple, dude. Now, if Notre Dame had rattled off like 3 or 4 ranked wins to Miami's 1, then I could probably sit there and be like, well, I mean, maybe we do have something to talk about if that game was week 1 or 2, right? Because it was. I think it was like week 1 or 2.
It was week
Maybe
one.
3. Was it week 1? So, like,
Yeah,
come on.
it was the Sunday game.
Yeah, so if it's week 1, but then Notre Dame has this crazy resume, then I could entertain some kind of a, like, oh, well, maybe we should talk about this. But no, like, to me, it's clear cut and dry, man.
Here's one for y'all. Do y'all think the committee got it right this year? Hey, speaking of Notre Dame, look who joins the party.
It's like he knew we were just talking about Notre Dame.
Yeah, is this live somewhere?
My ears started hurting and my nose started to tingle. I had a feeling.
and a rainbow appeared outside his window, so he was like, "Hey."
Yeah, it
Bro.
really did. I had to ride the rainbow back. So here we are.
All right, you little leprechaun. Give us your reason why Notre Dame should have been in.
why they should have been in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the fact, I don't know, ESPN gave us this false hope from week 3 all the way forward up until the final rating. Now, granted, I understand the ACC needs some like form of representation, and Virginia kind of fucked all that up. So did Duke. But I mean, Miami had the head-to-head. We won out every game in blowout fashion. I don't remember how many points we allowed post week 2, but 4 total points lost in the first 2 games. And I understand people are going to say, so what? It's a freshman quarterback. Who cares? But it's an away game at Miami. Oh, well, we have a first-year defensive coordinator. Okay, well, he dumbed down a system that was clearly flawed from the get-go, and you guys had dudes on that team to begin with. So, I don't know. The offense was there. The offense was playing great pace. Defense ended up showing up after Chris Ash got his ass beat after week 2, after that whole debacle. I don't know. I think we got our shit together and we should have been in, but how the committee kind of ironed it out there, it was rough to see because I was kind of hoping for an A&M rematch right there, but as I texted in the group chat, and then it all kind of fell apart. So I don't know, between either false rankings or you got to get something figured out in there. Either, and I've seen a bunch of people say you just need to do a first ranking and final ranking instead of weeklies, or I don't know, or figure out a different system, or like everyone's been suggesting, expanding the playoffs again. But I know nobody wants to do that.
I think the problem for me was that, and like, look, I think Miami should have been ahead of Notre Dame from the start, to be clear. But my issue
Agreed.
is that the committee put Notre Dame ahead of Miami for 5-6 weeks, whatever it was, straight, and then flip flops them in the final ranking. And I just
When
I
neither
just
one of
don't.
them played. When
Neither one of them plays. I don't understand that. And then it also, like, to be clear, like, I didn't think Notre Dame should have been ahead of Bama whenever Notre Dame jumped Bama when Bama lost to OU, and I think that also kind of played an unfortunate factor for Notre Dame because I think they put Notre Dame too high, and then they got so much flack for the Miami thing. So they're like, well, let's put them behind Bama, and we'll just leave Miami behind them. I think the committee was hoping Miami would lose another game. I think that was the hope because I think then it's like, okay, like, we're good now. But dude, I think switching it in the final ranking was crazy, crazy. Even though
Well,
I
and
Yeah, it
get
that
was.
and that's like that's one of my biggest like bitches about it. It's like, okay, because if you thought Notre Dame was worse than Miami because of a week 1 loss, I understand that. But if you're going to rank it like that, keep them ahead of them the whole time. I don't care. If you've got to keep pushing them down, keep doing that because obviously Miami beat Notre Dame even after a loss to Louisville, and what SMU was the other loss they had, correct?
Yeah.
So if you're going to lose to both of those teams, go ahead and just keep pushing them down and then keep it that way instead of rating Notre Dame. I think the highest we got was 9
yeah.
after the first 2 losses of the year. So it's like if you're going to do that, you might as well go ahead and keep Miami at 8 then, and then keep them at 12 or keep them at 11 because I mean the lowest we got was 13 or 11 or 12 or whatever, obviously. So
That's a good point.
it was rough. I had hope, but yeah,
Yeah.
obviously it just did come to fruition.
I think how they did the ranking is the problem. That's the issue. But like, I think they ultimately got it right. So I would prefer them to at the 11th hour go like, we fucked this up and we were hoping something else happened, so let's correct it now. But like, I think the thing with Notre Dame was there was a lot of feelings versus like factual on paper evidence. Like, I listened to Crane and Co. with the Notre Dame. I can't remember his name right now, and he was talking about like, are we going to really sit here and act like Alabama's win over Missouri is more impressive than us beating Navy? And it's like, yeah, we are going to sit here and say that because it's true. Like, we are going to sit here and say that. Like, what happened is, and I hope what you hope happens as a college football fan is that Notre Dame can no longer sit in this, like, let's schedule 2 or 3 tough games, win 1 or 2 of them, and we're a cakewalk in. But it looks like they filed paperwork to say maybe that's not the case. But, like, ideally, that's what you hope for because we talked about it all year. I know I was dead set on it, like a 10-win Notre Dame. There was no way they were going to have the balls to leave them out. And trust me, they didn't want to. they got caught in a situation where they were like, we're going to fuck up scheduling forever. Like, every team is going to pull big games because they're going to go, it doesn't even help when you win them. Much less like the Texas argument, like when you lose them. Miami would have been going, it doesn't even help to win them. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought they ultimately got it right.
No, I
And I
agree
mean,
100%.
after this factor, and Texas did come out and say that they were considering changing big games, especially going into a 9-game SEC up and coming season. Hey, Kirby Smart said the same thing. A lot of head coaches are saying the same thing. Sark also did correct himself and said they are going to finish the series out with Ohio State and Michigan. The Notre Dame game is the series that's in question now. They don't know if they're going to keep that or not, especially with the way things turned out this year. But that was another interesting point that Bo brought up that people kind of overlook. Everybody's like, "Oh, Notre Dame sucks. Notre Dame sucks." They lost 2 games by a combined of 4 points. People are forgetting that 4 points. They a botched extra point against A&M and a missed holding call that would have won the game for them, and a field goal to Miami. 4 points.
And again, I'm not going to throw another hypothetical out there because obviously we get bashed online always, but every other school does it, but it's fine. But if you're going to throw out the hypothetical, if we go into an overtime and it's an 11-1 Notre Dame team and we lose to Miami, are we still getting in or not? Is the question.
Ooh,
Like,
Yeah.
is it like
I think
without a
you
doubt?
get
If
it.
we're
Yeah.
11-1,
Yeah, no,
we're automatically in or what?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, if you're 11
I,
and 1, you're in. Or say, probably the 5 seed. If you're
Yeah.
11 and 1, you're probably the 5 seed. Like, that's real.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't know. That's like my biggest thing, but
Well, let's touch on before we get out of here. Let's touch on the other thing that's popped up since this whole debacle of playoffs. Notre Dame came out and said we're not playing in the bowl game, along with Kansas State, Baylor, and Iowa State. All 3 of the latter are all in the Big 12, and I think they all face fines. Nobody's fining Notre Dame because Notre Dame does what they want to do. But what are y'all's thoughts on teams holding out and not finishing the year with a bowl game?
I think it's soft.
Soft.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
brother.
mean,
I
so
love you.
I'm just no, it's fine, and I get it. The only thing I'm going to say is though, it's no different in every basket. I'm going to go from a basketball perspective. Big basketball teams always neglect the NIT. If they're not in the big dance, they get invited to the NIT or these other small tournaments. And guess
It's
what?
true.
Same shit. Everyone bashes on all these teams. Oh, you only lost 4 games. Why aren't you wanting to see your seniors off? Same thing. Every single basketball team I've ever heard of, they get the same thing every year. Well, now these smaller tournaments aren't as competitive. They don't want to play. They want to prep for next season. Let them prep for next season. Like,
That
I get it. And again, but as a college football fan, would I have liked to have seen another game? Yes. Am I a little salty? Kind of. But I see where they're coming from on just saying fuck it and prep for the next because they don't want, well, I guess 2 of their potential first and second round running backs getting injured in these games, whether they would play or not if they opt out. But that's neither here nor there.
That's a hell of a
Yeah.
take, though. I'm gonna have to clip that one. I'm gonna have to clip that one. Our bowl games now the NIT of college football.
Or the other like smaller tournaments because there's plenty of basketball tournaments. And again, I see Buddha shaking his head, but they aren't really comparable. But at the same time, there are more bowl games than there are like basketball tournaments. But the basketball tournament
Yeah.
bracket's a lot broader, I guess. So,
Yeah. What
but
this ultimately.
I don't think they're comparable. For one, and for two, like I think this situation is kind of it's a lot more dramatized than like a team sent out the NIT, in my opinion. Like there's a lot more coverage of it. Notre Dame basically publicly said like we're pissed we're not in. We're taking our ball and we're going home, right? Like, look, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, but look, it's not just Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame's the one everybody's talking about, right? Because it's the biggest story. It's the biggest one. It's the hot topic right now. I think all these schools sitting out are soft. Alex Golish and Auburn, the cow pasture over there, they're like, oh, we're not playing our bowl. Like we don't want to play a bowl game. I'm like, why? I think it's crazy. First of all, I think you're cheating your players out of a very good opportunity, whether it's putting tape out there or just an experience. Look, I don't know what bowl game. Oh, I forgot. It was the Pop-Tart Bowl, which I think is one of the most cinematic bowl games on the planet. I don't know what city it's in. I forgot, but I think it's a great experience.
It's in
Some
Orlando.
of these they don't get to travel a whole lot. They might not get to go to different cities a whole lot. So, like, in my opinion, it's kind of childish, and I think it's kind of selfish of the administration. Now, if the whole team got together and was like, "No, we don't want to play a bowl game," hey, then that's different. I don't think that was the case here. I don't think it's been the case anywhere. I think it's a bunch of old heads who are mad, who are like, "No, we're not doing this." That's just me.
I agree. I think ultimately, too, this boils down to if LSU, Texas, Alabama were decided they're going to opt out, there's a financial penalty to it. Like, to me, the ultimate problem is that, like, Notre Dame just exists on their own. They're not held accountable by anybody. And the fact that you can just go, yeah, we have the NBC deal, but we don't feel like playing because we feel ass hurt. To me, there should be financial ramifications to it, because everybody else in the country that has any sort of a brand would have financial ramifications if they finish 13th. Like, if Texas came out and went, well, we should have made the playoff, we're not playing a bowl game, there'd be a big fine. They'd have to pay a lot of money to the conference. And the fact that Notre Dame's not held accountable, and the fact that we've now turned around and written them into where they're the conference champion of their independent every year, essentially, where if they're ranked in the top 12, they have to be in. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I'm a believer that we should be forcing Notre Dame to play in a conference. And instead, all these old heads Cole's referring to keep bending over and letting Notre Dame do whatever they feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that. It's boy, I think essentially we're going to move to a 16 within the next year or two. It's going to go to 16, and there's going to be like bubble team games to play into the big playoff for the title. But we'll see.
Here's my thing too. Like, if we go to 16, like, we're gonna have the same issues. It's gonna be the same issues, just a few spots down the line. Yeah, like Notre Dame would have been in for sure. BYU would have been in. Texas will probably be in.
Texas and Vandy. I think Texas and Vandy easily would have both
But
been in.
it's like, who's the next team from there? Because now we're gonna have the same problem with the next team. Now it's gonna be smaller brands, so it won't be as loud of a problem probably. But I think the whole idea of, like, let's just keep expanding, let's keep expanding. Everybody gets to play in the playoffs. Like, no, like, that was what made it so special when you had the BCS. Like, it was the top two teams. Whether it ended up being somebody people didn't agree with or not, it was a computer system that did it for you. The subjectiveness of it wasn't there. It wasn't a committee of a bunch of old heads sitting around drinking no beer, eating no wings, watching football all day. And I think the bigger we make, the more issues we're going to have. I think 4 was okay. 4 was okay. It was flawed because it was still subjective. I think going to 16 is crazy, man. Because now it's like you're playing a whole other season. You know? As it is, if you're not a first round bye, you got to play, 3 games to get to the Natty, and then a 4th one. And guess what? If you're in a conference like most teams, you got to play 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games to win an S championship. I mean, that's crazy. I think this. I think we're doing too much. It's that whole participation.
Well,
I think 8's the
Go
number.
ahead, Buddha.
I always thought 8 was the number. Or 10, excuse me. I think 10 should have been the number. You go, every team that plays for a conference championship, automatically in. You make the conference championships round 1 of them. And then you have 2 at-large spots, which ultimately probably would have been Notre Dame and a G5, whoever else it would have been. And they would have played the same weekend as conference championship in the first round. But, like, I agree with Cole. Like, we're going to keep doing this. And every year, as long as you have these automatic qualifiers to bring in teams that are not – because let's be realistic. Is James Madison a top 16 team in the country? Do we think they're one of the 16 best teams? No. But
they were
ultimately,
ranked 24th.
even if it was 16 teams, the team who was the 16th best team in the country would have been sitting there going, we're getting fucked, because they played Troy and we had to play, let's just say it was Texas, we had to play Ohio State and Texas A&M this year, and they played Troy in a conference championship. So, like, until you get rid of the automatic qualifiers, like, and look, I'm dumb enough, y'all are dumb enough, all college football fans are dumb enough for this. Just rank Tulane 12. Like, don't make them rank 25th and then go like they automatically go here. Just make me the visual say they're the 12th best team in the country. And, like, half the people would be like, okay, works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the auto bids is part of what makes it so bad. I think auto bids is what's completely ruining college football right now. I mean, look, I'm all for
Agreed.
Tulane and James Madison being in this year because it's part of the literature this year. It's part of what it is this year. I think auto bids should go away personally. Give me the 12. I don't love
Agreed.
12. I'd rather 6 personally, but give me the 12 best teams and no auto bids.
Yeah.
Well, because again, the same thing. We're going to watch James Madison, who is right now a 21.5-point underdog, and Tulane, which is a 17.5-point underdog, probably get beat by way over those margins. So, yeah, sure, they made the playoffs, but we're just going to watch 2 ass beatings, which Tulane's already gotten beat by Ole Miss once. So, we're just going to watch a 35-point blowout again. I don't care if Lane's there or not. That's a good ass football team, and they're going to run them into the dirt. So.
Gotcha. You lagged up there a little bit. But that's it. I think that's all we got for y'all today. We'll catch y'all again on the live. And what happened? What you got,
Did y'all do?
Cole?
Did I miss Bama, Oklahoma?
Did we skip over Bama, Oklahoma? Holy shit, we
I think
did.
I was doing.
Yeah, we did. My
Parenting.
bad. Whoops. Yeah,
No, you're good.
we actually did. No, yeah, good thing, good catch
Elephant
before
first
we
wagon.
close it out. Yeah, so we got another rematch. We got number 8 taking on number 9. We got number 8 OU hosting Cole's Alabama Crimson Tide. There'll be a second meeting. I'll say like I said last time. So far it seemed like Venables has DeBoer's number when it comes to these games because he's 2-0 against them. But hey, this is a big one. This is one for college football playoffs. Will y'all be the first team to let OU win a playoff game? I mean, the pressure's on y'all because if y'all let them win, I'm gonna be pissed just because I hate the Sooners that much. How you feeling about it, Cole?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, like, made the playoffs. That's great, right? But like, if you go to Oklahoma and you lose, like, nobody remembers that you made the playoffs. Everyone's gonna remember that you lost first round of playoffs to a team that you already lost to twice. Speaking for DeBoer. Look, the first time we played, we doubled them in yardage, we doubled them in first down. We also had 3 bad turnovers. Obviously the pick 6 kind of set everything in motion for us to lose that game. The big punt return, the Ryan Williams fumble after we forced a 3 and out. You end up losing the game by a field goal, which Connor Talty missed a 31-yarder field goal. At that time, he was still with the Taliban. But however, he's now converted back to being an American citizen, and he lives in Tuscaloosa, plays for Alabama again. So that's good to know. Look, I think at the end of the day, Bama's run game has, and I know I'm saying this after we just got -3 rushing yards against Georgia, but that was some of that was game script. Bama's run game towards the end of the year was getting better and better. Against Oklahoma, we ran the ball for like 110, 120 yards when you take sacks out of the equation. When you put sacks in, I think it was like 80 yards. You'll have a healthy roster, which Bama hasn't had in the last 6 weeks, probably, maybe even 7. I think with a healthy roster, I think if we can please Ryan Grubb, I hope you just go back to what we were doing earlier in the year. Simplify it a little bit. Stop doing these long plays, man. Against OU and against Georgia, these last 2 games, we'd have like 3rd and 2. Ty drops back to pass, gets pressured, obviously, and you look downfield, every route is 15 yards or more, and that just can't happen. You can't do that. I mean, every now and then, sure, maybe, but like you can't keep doing that against teams that can get pressure. OU's defense is really good. I like our chances here, which I know is kind of crazy because of how we've been playing, but I think we should have won the first one. This one in Oklahoma, it'll be rocking, but at the end of the day, we went to Georgia and we went to Missouri and won. I think if you can win at Georgia, you can win anywhere. So I'm confident. I mean, obviously, like I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not confident. This is never going to happen. But at the end of the day, I think Bama gets it done and hopefully makes a run.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot riding on this game in terms of the outlook and what the season will be. Because I think the reality is, if Bama does lose, people will not remember that you made a playoff. And in terms of the narrative, will turn out to be that's back-to-back 4-loss seasons for Alabama, which just didn't happen for a very long time. Like, is that fair? Absolutely not. Like, they still are a playoff team, but like reality is that all off season it'll be, can Alabama bounce back from 2 4-loss seasons? I want to say since the first time since like Saban's first year there, or some shit like that. Look, I think I kind of agree with Cole, like in terms of Bama's like run game. Like, I don't think -3 is a good depiction of what it is. I don't think it's a world beater by any stretch, but that game got away from Alabama really quick, and everything flipped on its head. I think OU's really good. I thought Alabama, for one, just make sure we get this public, I thought Alabama absolutely deserved to be in. I thought in no world you should penalize a team for playing in the SEC title game, or any conference title for that matter. Like, they were already in. They should have stayed in. Couldn't agree with that more. Should be a really good game. But again, I think Pete mentioned it. Like, Venables does, for some reason, seem to have that number. So we'll see. I think it's a really big game for the Kalen DeBoer tenure at Alabama as to how it's going to be looked at, moving forward, as to what the feeling is regarding him.
I mean, if Bama can come in, and again, I'm going to relate this kind of back to basketball a little bit. It's always can sometimes be hard to beat a team twice, but it can be really hard that third time. So I'm hoping by now Kalen's got enough film on Oklahoma that he can kind of iron out some of these issues, not cause a pick six, hopefully. And hopefully against Georgia, they got their jitters out of the way, and all these guys that decided to either sit out or were injured are back to full health, and they can come in and give Oklahoma a run for their money. Because let's be honest, we've seen Oklahoma struggle on offense, which everyone has reminded me of all season long. Thanks, John Mateer. But anyways, so as long as they can kind of iron out some of those minor issues, hopefully they can come out and really give them a good game and get on to that next round of the playoffs. But yeah, until then, I'm very neutral on this game because I am kind of pissed at Cole. He's been trolling me in the chat all week. But that's beside the point, where we're just here for ball. So I am kind of rooting for the Tide a little bit, but you're not gonna catch me wearing a Crimson Tide shirt. So
I wish I would have wrote down Chauncey. I wish I would have wrote down what Chauncey sent us about our picks to begin the year, how they ended up favoring out. I think all of us. We all ended a tie. I
think we each had 4 correct out of the final rankings. I think we each got 4 teams right. To mention though, me and Buddha both got the at-large teams right. Buddha had Tulane at 12. I had James Madison at 12. So ball knowers, as we've been saying all week.
Yeah, but neither of y'all had both of them though. Powers.
It's well, I'll take 50%. I'll take 50% compared to 0.
I think didn't all of us have Alabama at 9? I believe all of us had one of the teams at the same number. I forgot.
We had
Alabama at 9?
We all had Notre Dame at 6.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
Yeah, Pete and Cole had Bama both at 9. You both had that smack dab right on the money, and then me and Buddha had the G5 teams.
I also had Bama going 10-2, losing to Oklahoma. So, just for the record.
And also shout out Clemson, all in our top 3. Shout out
what a dog shit team.
And Penn State. And Penn State.
Shout out Penn State.
Penn State's horrible. Fuck James Franklin. Fuck Dabo Sweeney.
All right. Y'all got anything else I want to close out with other than that?
I think that's it.
Nah, man, that's it.
We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all on Friday. And all right, we'll catch y'all on the next one, guys.
First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors. Let us give you the report.